So you're looking to buy your first home? Look at you go, millennial. Avoid these 5 most common big mistakes that first-time home buying millennials make when buying their first property. That's what I'm going to be discussing here in this video today, and more importantly, how you can avoid these mistakes. Welcome to the channel. My name is Jordan Brown, your Austin area realtor. And as a millennial myself who bought my first home in 2018, I wish I had a resource like this to help me throughout my home buying journey. The realtor that I used was brand new into the industry, didn't have a whole lot of guidance to be able to provide for me, and I didn't know any better at the time. So I made this video as a realtor now, looking out for you, my fellow millennials. Before we dive too deep into this video, I want to let you know that I made a complete home buyer guide for millennial first-time home buyers. That is right over here. That's going to go over the ins and outs of the home buying process, the money involved, very, very in-depth. If you've got about 30 minutes, make sure you check that out right over there. And don't forget, if you do find any of this information informative and helpful to your home buying journey, make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Mistake number 1 is completely skipping the pre-approval process. Now look, I get it. Home buying is an exciting time in your life and you want to get started right away and you want to go immediately start looking at houses. You're going to want to avoid that. The reason being is I don't want to get you all excited about a house and then you be disappointed with how much paperwork is involved, what the costs are going to be like, how much home you can afford. What if you fall in love with 3 of the houses that we see and you can't get approved for any of them? A mortgage pre-approval not only tells you how much that you can afford when buying a house, but it also shows the sellers that you're very serious about this. You've gone through a rigorous process of telling someone your entire history of income, your debts, your employment to get to this point, and we are serious about our offer. As mentioned earlier, skipping this process is going to get you hyped up for a home that you may not be able to afford, and you may lose out to another buyer who's already pre-approved and ready to go. So when you're preparing, what I want you to do is get your ducks in a row. You want to make sure that your finances are in order, your credit score is where it needs to be, and you have a pre-approval ready to rock before you start looking at homes. If by chance you need some fantastic local lenders that are here local in Austin, you can find my free buyer's guide down below in the description. There's a link to it. And on the third to last page, there's a list of 3 lenders that I love working with, that I've done many deals with, and they've always done right by my clients. Feel free to get in contact with one of them. The second most common mistake is not factoring in all of the costs of home ownership. In Texas, property taxes are higher than the national average. So if you're coming from somewhere such as Colorado, where the property taxes are lower, even with a state income tax on top of that, which Texas doesn't have, you're probably paying more in property taxes than those 2 things combined somewhere else. Then you have maintenance, utilities, homeowners insurance. All of this is more expensive in a home typically than an apartment. My advice to you here is to create a realistic budget so that you don't have any nasty surprises on the financials later on down the road before it's too late and now you're responsible for a 30-year mortgage. Number 3 is overextending your budget, and this is a big one. Just because a lender pre-approves you for an amount does not mean that you need to max that out when buying a home. It's easy to get carried away. You're going around, you're looking at all these beautiful homes that are just slightly above your budget, and you don't want to put yourself into a financial burden where you become house poor. That's a term that we refer to when you can afford the house, but that's just about it. So you really want to make sure that you're sticking to a budget so that you can enjoy life outside of the house. In fact, I recommend that you follow something called the 28% rule. Whoever's going to be on the deed, whether it's you or you and a partner, whoever's buying the house, whatever your collective income is, there's something called the 28% rule. This rule states that your mortgage, this is your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, should not exceed 28% of your monthly income. So let's just use nice even numbers for an example. So if you and your partner are buying a house and collectively you bring in $10,000 per month, you do not want to spend more than $2,800 towards a mortgage. And knowing this information is going to help you to be able to budget accordingly. You can play around with a tool called whatsmypayment.com, where you can go on and say, based on this purchase price at this interest rate, what down payment do we need, or what terms do we need to get to that, in this scenario, $2,800 that we're comfortable with. The 4th biggest mistake that first-time home buying millennials make is skipping the home inspection. Look, I get it. You're excited and maybe you don't want to spend any more money. You know, a home inspection somewhere between $500 and $800. Who wants to do that, right? But look, it is the single biggest purchase of your life. You want to make sure, especially in Texas, we have some pretty unique geographic obstacles here. There's clay soil and your foundation can bear the brunt of that over a pretty short amount of time. It's not shocking to walk into some new builds and within the first few years of them being built, have some major foundation issues. Your HVAC takes a huge beating in Texas during the summers, and you want to know this, which is something that's going to come up during your home inspection. So don't cheap out now over $500 to $800 to later on be faced with $40,000 worth of repairs. Even if your house looks perfect, get a home inspection for the peace of mind. Mistake number 5, don't let your emotions get the best of you. Buying your first home is very exciting, but you have to keep your emotions in check. It's easy to fall in love with a house and want to make that deal work at all costs, but this can lead to some really bad decisions. This can be overpaying, overlooking some really important issues, or rushing into this big financial decision. Stay patient, think logically, and do not be afraid to walk away from the deal if it's not feeling right. There will always be more houses. Here's a bonus mistake that people make. It's not hiring the right realtor. Before you click off of this, I'm not saying that just because I'm a realtor and I want your business, which I do, but I have a lot of experience. A lot of people, they want to help their friends out. Maybe someone in their family just got licensed and they go with them over someone who's seen a lot of different markets, helped hundreds of families. This is the single biggest purchase of your life, more than likely. And if you're going to entrust that with someone who has zero experience over someone who is experienced, that's on you. I highly recommend avoiding this mistake. There's some questions that you can ask your realtor to make sure that they're going to be the right fit for you. Obviously, we want you to jive with us as well, so we know that that's a factor. But I would recommend working with someone who has been in the industry, who has helped people in your situation, and don't be afraid to ask about their experience with that. And there you have it. There are the 5 biggest and most common mistakes that millennial first-time home buyers in Texas make and how to avoid those mistakes. If you or anyone that you know is looking to buy or sell a home in Texas, you can reach out to me via the contact information in the link below. Whether it's working directly with me or if you would like a recommendation for a realtor in an area that I do not service, I can help you out there as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was informative, and I'll catch you in the next one.